This is Straight Up with Toby Martini. I am Toby Martini, and on this show, we talk about a few different things. What it's like to be an entrepreneur, how do you be in business today, sometimes the psychology of what's behind it. How do you be successful? How do you make more money? Let's go find out. Hey everybody, this is Toby Martini, that guy who does that show, Straight Up with Toby Martini. Welcome to the big show. Welcome to the new year. I hope that you are having a fantastic time. Hey, Chris, real quick. This blue camera or that tall camera?
That tall camera.
Hi, tall camera. Hi, everybody. Mostly people listen, but if anybody's looking in, let's see. Actually, it's probably hard for people to be looking in right now because we've been moving around. Websites have all changed and such. TalkWadStudios.com. Is that the one?
That is the one.
Thank you, sir. So TalkWadStudios.com, you can see my show and, I don't know, a dozen other shows that happen. You'll go there, and I think there's a now playing button. I say that for the people who are listening, who at some point would like to watch and go, hey, wow, he's goofier looking than he sounds even.
But you look better, though, because, the quality is so much clearer.
Oh, high quality. Yes, we've changed a bunch of the systems. For anybody who's listened to the show more than twice, we change systems and locations every other month. Something has to change consistently.
Just to keep you on your toes.
Yes, indeed. Right, because that's what I do. I love to be on my toes and wing things. So I handle that better than most. That's why some people have come and gone, because they can't handle change and stress, and I live for it. All right, so today, real quick, I want to say sponsors of our show are Score Pinellas, actually, most exactly. If you are in business or want to start a business or have an idea for a business, go to Score, and you will get a counselor, a mentor, a person who can help you with all aspects of your business. It is fabulous. It's free. It's a volunteer organization. It's really great. You can't do a better thing for your business, I don't think. Maybe there's better things. I don't know. Make more money. But Score, which is at pinellascounty.score.org. Check them out. And also New Urban Suites. Super cool office space down in Ybor, centrally located all around the whole Tampa Bay. You can get to from there. It's a super cool little building. It's very green. It's a white building, but it's environmentally safe.
So it's not actually green.
It's not actually green. Oh. And so you go there, you can get a virtual secretary, you get a mailbox and address and stuff like that. That way you get to play the game of being bigger, looking bigger than your business is maybe, and that's okay. So check out newurbansuites.com and then contact Angela and go get yourself a little space. So that's the sponsors of the show. And those are sponsors who like and endorse and help entrepreneurs, right? That's the kind of sponsor that I always want to have. I'm unofficially sponsored by the Mountain Dew. One day officially sponsored by the Mountain Dew. We'll see. I'm very thumpy on my table. I will not hit my table as much.
I'm trying to fix that for you.
I like people who want to help entrepreneurs, right? I think I say this all the time, and it's probably not correct, but I want everybody to be an entrepreneur. Now, everybody can't be. Some people aren't built for it. Some people aren't as risk tolerant. They like a steady paycheck. Oh, I liked it better before I was bassier. I just won't thump. It's not for everyone. Some people are just built to have a schedule and have people tell them what to do. But really, I think the vast majority of people, they do the job they do because they fell into it and they got stuck. And it's just not great for humans to sit in a chair for 6 or 8 hours in a row and to work in a little cubicle like veal. Not that veal work very hard, but you know what I mean.
I didn't know that veal worked at all.
No, they don't. So I I just really think that before we had the Industrial Revolution, everybody worked on their own business, right? You worked in the family business or you went and started your own. Maybe you were an apprentice for a while, but then you took that and you went and became the one who did that work, right? So the world is going back to that. Not 100%, right? We're not going back to horses and carriages or anything, but the model for business is changing some. And like I said, I think there will always be a place for the people who like a solid 9 to 5 with a particular schedule. Because, Verizon's not going to go away, AT&T, all those big companies, they're not going to go away. Apple's going to exist. I couldn't have created an iPhone, right, by myself.
What?
And so you need some big structures to create those big things. But for most of us, it would be cool to create your own product, create your own little service, create something that helps others somehow. And the model I see for the future, or the best model, or the one that I'm asking you to jump into is sort of this project-to-project model, which kind of looks like how they make movies. So they make movies, various people come together, and they join in and they work on a project. So a producer finds a director and some actors and then lighting people and sound people and all that stuff. And they get together and they do this work because somebody had a vision and they create a consensus and they go, here's what we're going to build. Everybody comes in, they do their work, and at the end, everybody gets paid. A lot of the people get residuals, so way later they're still getting paid for it. But then all of those people go their separate ways. And somebody else says, I have a project. And a producer comes in and they grab a director and they grab some different actors. So yeah, there are studios, but I don't think that actors are tied to the studios the way they used to be. But that model of let's get all of the best people we could find and go do this thing. And you build something and then you make your money, and then some of you can make money, residuals as time goes by, and then you go work on another project. And so business can work like that, especially startups. If you're into technology, I know a bunch of people who've created either a widget or a software program or a website. You go out and you collect a bunch of people and you build the thing, and then everybody goes off and works on other projects. But you continue to make money from that thing that you made. And I just love that, and I'm working project to project, right? That's a great model. As a speaker, it's a little different, but still, I'm going to go into a company and I might do a keynote. I'm going to do some workshops for them. I'm going to figure out, maybe do one-on-one coaching, something like that. I'm going to go, that's a project for me. And then I'm going to leave and I'm going to go find another company to do all the various things that I do in. So that's, see how that's similar. It's, I'm not going to go to the same place and have the same exact kind of work every day, working with the same people, doing the same thing. And if your business doesn't work like that way, either add on a piece of your business that could work that way, or figure out how to make your business, use that model. Sitting around having your one building and you get your employees and you're tied to it, right? In Rich Dad Poor Dad, one with the quadrants, right? You're an employee, or then the next step up would be self-employed, and then business owner, and then investor, right? Those are the four levels. But as a self-employed person, usually you're doing all of the work. You're still somebody who's tied to a location or tied to some certain hours. And if you don't show up for work, if you have a sick day or you have a vacation, then you don't make any money, right? The next step is to be the business owner, where we created it, we pulled a bunch of people together to do something, and then your job is to create vision and cash checks, right? You're the front end and the back end of that. So that's what I see as an entrepreneur is and could be and should be. And if your business doesn't work like that, if you can't continue to cash checks when you're on vacation, then that's a problem. Right? So that's all my preamble stuff. And I guess I'm just on a lark. This is the first show of a new year, 2014. I actually have written 2014 5 or 10 times yet, and I haven't written 2013. You know how you usually do that? Like every year when it changes, you write the last year.
Right.
I guess I really didn't like 2013 as much as I thought, so I have no attachment to it.
I haven't done that either, oddly enough. So there was one time that I just kind of hesitated for a second, but, no, 2013 wasn't a bad year, but it wasn't like anything that made me want to keep writing it.
Yeah, right. Right. And so for those of you who don't know, this is my producer. This is Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
All right. So I didn't announce who you were. We just started talking.
I'm just the ominous voice.
Ominous. Don't be ominous. Be enthusiastic and positive and playful. No ominous allowed here.
Oh, okay.
So it does give me a decent segue. So I did that for longer than I wanted to, but just if maybe this is the first time you listened or it's the first show of the new year, let's talk about where I'm coming from. I want people to be entrepreneurs. I want people to get out and go do stuff. And by do stuff, I mean create a service, create a product, create something that helps other people. And then you create a great thing that assists somebody, gets them out of pain, gets them over something or through something or makes them happy. And then you profit as well, right? Sadly, some of us get into business. We do so much work for other people because we love contribution, right? I want to help. I do this, that, and the other thing. And then I turn around and go, oh, I probably should have charged them for that, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't work. It's not a good business. So create something that helps people and then figure out how do you get paid to do that. Success and all the money in the world comes from something you love. Where does that overlap with something people need or something people will pay for? So having said all of that, my wish for you for the new year is I hope you fail. I do. I know it sounds crazy, right? Chris choked for a minute. That sounds terrible. What happened to Toby, who's positive and upbeat and all that stuff, right?
I hope you fail.
I hope you fail, right? And I'm not being mean. I don't want you to fail completely. I don't want anybody to die. I don't want anybody to go bankrupt. Or maybe you do. Like, if you read biographies of some of the most famous people, they've gone bankrupt more often. Well, not more often than not, right? Because if they're successful now, they've been successful one more time than they've gone bankrupt, which is kind of the definition of success, which is if I fall down 6 times, success is getting up 7. Right. And you read stories of people who are wildly successful that you respect, that you like, go, wow, I wish I was such a good business person. They've had companies fail. They've had things bankrupt. They themselves have been bankrupt. Look at Trump, who's been bankrupt, I don't know, at least 2, I think 3 times, and he's back up to billions. Like, how do you go from 0 to $1 billion? I don't know. It's ridiculous. How do you do that twice? How do you do that 3 times? Makes no sense, right? But you're better off to try and fail than you are to not put something out. Then, right, imperfect action is the thing to do. If I move and fail, at least I've learned what not to do. At least I've learned some pieces that work and some pieces that don't. So then you grab a bunch of different people and you put something together and you do the parts that worked and you change the parts that didn't. But you must fail early and fail often. Is kind of the startup, the tech startup mantra is fail early and fail often. Build something. If it doesn't work, you learn some stuff. Let's rebuild it. Let's build it another way. Most businesses, well, I'm going to back up before I say most businesses. What I'm going to say is put stuff out, see if it works, is way better than I'm going to sit and look at this until it's perfect, right? Writers, I mentioned this before, writers have the worst problem with this. Too many writers I know have a book that's 90% done, 80 and 90% done, and it just doesn't get out. When are you going to put it out? I'm still fixing it. I'm still tweaking it. I don't have it quite right yet. I get it. Put it out, right? In video, and I think we talked about this at the end of the last show last year. Chris is a producer who does video and such. One of the worst things that they hate to hear is, we'll fix that in post.
Oh, yes.
Yeah? We'll fix that in post. Because a director or an actor will go, well, that's good enough, right? Mm-hmm. It's not quite good enough. The light was a little off. The sound was a little off. But we'll fix it in post. We'll let the editor handle that. You know, it would be better to reshoot the thing because it'll take the 10 of you 5 minutes to reshoot it, but it's going to take the editor 2 hours to fix it, you know? So, sorry to make you mad, but there are things that you could get done and fix it in post. And maybe you just fix it in version 2, right? And if it's a web project, there's not even a version 2. There's just, we'll fix it because you can whenever you need. You can make changes incrementally. So, finish your book and put it out. And if it's not the best ever, then make another book, right? Put your software out. I'm not 100% sure it's done. Then put it out as beta, get people to test it, figure out what doesn't work, and then release it. Is it perfect then? Probably not. What number? Now I know the number, but what actual release of Windows are we on?
I think 8.
It's called Windows 8, but it's not the 8th version of Windows either. It's probably the 12th version of Windows, because we had Windows 95 and 98 and XP and Microsoft Bob.
Me,
you. Oh, they should have one called you.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. They put that stuff out, and it's not perfect, clearly. And even after 12 shots at it, or however many it is, people will tell you it's not very perfect, right? Windows is not a perfect thing. A lot of people don't like that interface. They don't like stuff the way it works, blah, blah, blah. But how much money has Microsoft made off Windows? You know, if they waited until they had the perfect operating system, we still wouldn't have it, right?
Right.
And so take imperfect action, go ahead and ship it, right? Put it out. And I'm not saying do bad work. I'm not saying be incomplete. I am saying get it where it's good. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's nice if it is, right? It's a weird line because I do want awesomeness. I do want to be surprised by how good stuff is. And I also want to see it get out, right? Even iPhones. People love their iPhones. We're on version 5S or whatever it is now.
Yeah.
So there's been 4 or 5 versions of them. So was the first iPhone perfect? Clearly not, because they made an iPhone 2. It needed to be updated. It needed to be better. But if we waited until it was perfect before they distributed it to the world, nobody would have an iPhone.
I think the only perfect product out there is the toothpick. You can't really improve that.
It's not too bad. It works okay. And Mountain Dew's pretty good. But I tell you what, they improved it. Mountain Dew Voltage is, it's perfect.
I haven't tried it yet.
It's perfect. It's such a good thing. It is, I forget what they say. It's citrus, raspberry with ginseng. It's a ridiculous combination of stuff, but it is good things.
Well, but going back to, it's never going to be perfect.
Yep.
I don't think that even when you've created, people say we love your product, there's going to be people out there who don't.
Sure.
No matter what.
Right.
Even if it's perfect.
And I love that, right? There's polarizing too, right? There's look, I don't have an iPhone. I use Android. I'm an Android person. I like it. I think it's great. I don't hate iPhones, but I know people who do. So if you can get rabid loyal followers, you will also get haters.
Right.
No matter what.
It's the balance.
Yeah, that thing that you're looking for, I want to create the perfect one, still doesn't matter because some percentage of the people aren't going to like it, no matter what. So stop fretting. It's not going to be perfect for everyone. Put stuff out. Get it done. I talk to you about the radio station sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. I like the way Alex runs things because he's like, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work, but we're going to try this. And you try something. And so for me, I was like, let's try something. If it kind of works, we'll wrap a system around it. That's how I started Video Challenge this last year. Mm-hmm. Started Video Challenge because I needed it. I got 4 or 5 people. We did it. We had good results. The thing worked really good. And I went, if I change this and add that and take this out and did this a little differently, then I can sell this. It's a product. And then I put it out like the next month. I just started making it. Is it the perfect system? No. But having run it 5 times, it's way better.
Right.
But the idea is, let's see if it works. How do people respond? Right? Get a couple of customers. See how it works. And fix it and fix it and fix it. Right? So I know it sounds crazy, but I hope you fail. Put stuff out that people don't like, and you'll be okay. You know, the most famous actors, the most famous musicians, everybody has had a clunker. Tom Cruise had some really bad movies, I think. Can't remember any of the names of them because they were horrible, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, you put it out and you hope it works. What's really weird, the difference between music and movies is an actor can be in a movie that's a real flop and then still make another movie and people are okay. Mm-hmm. Musicians have it harder.
Oh, it's very cutthroat.
Musician put out a bad album,
they're done.
You might not get another chance to put out a good album. I mean, like the Rolling Stones, they're not my favorite band in the world or anything, but they probably have an album that nobody likes, like Some Girls or something. I don't know. You know, there are some there's some people, if you're around 50 years, mm-hmm. man, I'm sure something didn't do too good. Yeah. But the thing is, you just do it and you put it out. Now, here's the thing. The only thing that ever stops anybody, and this is a great quote, and I forgot the guy's name right now, but he wasn't anybody you've ever heard of. But his quote was, the only thing between you and the success you want is the bullshit story about why you can't have it. All right? And it's just noise in your head why you either don't deserve it or you're not ready or blah, blah, blah. Right? And so it's just the noise in your head. And you go, well, if I put something out and it's not perfect, people will think I'm insert whatever annoys you there, right? I'm not smart. I'm not a good business person. I'm not apt. Whatever it is, that's what stops you. Same thing that stops you when you have to do a presentation and you're scared to talk in front of people, right? Same thing that stops you whenever, I'm going to do a radio show. I'm going to go be on a TV show. I'm going to write a blog post. The noise in your head, that little voice that goes, oh, don't look goofy. Certainly not in public, right? It's just the chatter. Here's the thing. Action overrides the chatter, right? Once you start moving and you get your brain distracted or filled up with, well, we're doing it. How do I do next? What's my next step? What do I do? What do I do? You have to start using your brain to figure out how to move forward. You don't have the cycles left to be fretting, right? And so you'll stop worrying because you fill up your brain with the doing, right?
Right.
For me, I come from the world of improv, and the improv games that I use in my workshops and such, the idea is to make you do a good scene. I will give you a distraction like you can't use the letter M, or every sentence has to start with the next letter of the alphabet or something like that. So while you're in the scene, you're thinking about, oh goodness, what's the next letter of the alphabet? And the scene happens fine because you don't have the time to fret about, oh, what should I say next, or what's my motivation, or how should my character be, or blah, blah, blah. You don't get to do all that stuff because you've distracted your brain with action, right? And that's a new way for me to say it, but I kind of like it. Improv games are all about that. Give me a restriction. Make it hard for me to move forward. And that sounds crazy, but the crux of the stuff that I talk about comes from, and it sounds crazy, and I mean this and I don't mean this, is if you stop, so the first part of it is, if you stop to think, you might not get started again, right? So don't stop to think about what you're going to do. Trust that your brain has enough in it, right? Trust that you're smart enough that when you move forward, you'll do the right thing. You'll say the right thing.
Otherwise, you might overthink it.
Always. That's the problem. People overthink it and they go, oh, what's the perfect way? Just the way that you say it is fine. And I know it sounds crazy, but if you are trying to get something done and you're hearing the chatter about why you can't, why you shouldn't, you should make it harder. You should make the task harder. You should give yourself a deadline, play annoying music, do something else. And I don't mean to do a physically something else thing because you can't multitask well. But like an improv game, like I said, if you had to be in a scene, a mom and a dad talking to their son about, his doing drugs or whatever, right? But every person has to alternate starting with the next letter of the alphabet. That's the sort of a trick that while you're thinking about what the alphabet is, the words you say just happen because even if you're not a parent who has a kid on drugs you need to talk about, you would know what to say, right? And so I have a more clear example. My son, this is maybe 2 years ago, 9-ish, and he was learning the 50 states. He didn't have to know capitals or anything like that. He was just learning the 50 states. So we were doing the regions, a section at a time. But I would teach him stuff like, say when we're looking at the Northwest, we'd say Washington. And he'd go, oh, Seattle is in Washington. You were in Seattle. Remember we saw blah, blah, blah there. I remember Seattle, Washington. Good. Idaho, that's where potatoes are. That's where they make grow potatoes.
Some kind of an association.
Right, an association, because your brain loves associations. And so every state, we either picked the capital of the thing or what's their major export or what's there, right? Nevada, oh, that's Las Vegas. That's where they have slot machines and stuff. Not that he needs slot machines, but he's seen them on TV. When my wife came by, she said, he doesn't need to know all that, right? He doesn't need to know the capitals yet. He doesn't need to know production. He just needs to know the states. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like I'm making it harder, but I'm really making it easier for him, right? I'm giving him more associations, more hooks. in his head, right? So making it harder, it sounds worse. Like, wow, you're giving him more info to remember. Yeah, I'm giving him more hooks to remember. It's going to be remembered better. And so think about that for yourself. Hi. Think about that for yourself. When you're doing something and it seems maybe it's hard to do, or you start to hear that noise in your head that goes, oh, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. What could you do? I know it sounds crazy. What could you do to make it harder, to distract your brain so you don't have the free cycles for your brain to complain about, I'm not sure how to do it, right? So, look, today we're talking about mindset, right? And if you read business books, read books on success, read books on personal growth or human potential and all that, they always start with mindset. And most of them, they don't go anywhere else. They don't give you actual strategies for your work. They just go, here's what you need, mindset. Even, Think and Grow Rich, which is like everybody's cornerstone business book. It's about mindset. Why do they all start with that? Why do so many books start with mindset? It's because it's what matters, right? Yes, for everything, there are strategies and tactics. But in our world, with Google and YouTube, you can always find strategies and tactics. You can always find, how do I do this thing? How do I build this? How do I get that? How do I say this? The strategies and the structures and the tactics are all out there. The only reason everybody's not successful is there's a little noise in your head, right, that keeps you from going and getting that information. Or worse yet, and I'm a victim of this myself. We go to seminars, we collect DVD programs, we collect all these books, and we read them. We go, fantastic, a ton of great knowledge I could totally use, and then not use it. That's the problem. You know why? Mindset problem. I'm not ready for this. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And it's just some stuff in your head, okay? So it's all mindset. And what you do is you get somebody who's already done it. You get somebody who's successful at it. You get somebody who knows all the ins and outs of it, who can help you talk through that mindset. Because your friends, your family, they can't help you with that stuff. They like you just the way you are. Right? And you might have heard of that, right? Where somebody's they're starting to be successful, and their family or their friends, kind of their girlfriend or their wife or something, kind of pulls them back. Like, oh, you're too big for your britches, or nobody's successful doing that. It's because they want you to be safe, and they also don't want you to change because they like you the way you are. But a coach, right? A mentor, a consultant, somebody, they're for you. So they don't love you the way you are. They might like you, right? Your family and friends love you the way you are and want you to stay the same. They want you to be happy. But a mentor, a coach, that sort of person, they love the person you can be, right? They see the potential for you and they'll stand for that. So I could say, well, you could complain about your business. It's this big. I could go, well, that's fine. I love that you're happy piddling around in your business. But I wouldn't do that. I'd be, how can we make it bigger, better, more, right? So your family and friends love you the way you are. I would love you for the future you, right? A coach, a good mentor is a stand for your greatness and what you can be, okay? So these shows are officially going to be a half an hour show from now on. Maybe. I'm trying it out here. I figured if I get podcast length, it would be easier for people to listen. I guess it's, how often are you driving around in your car for an hour? Maybe half an hour. So we're going to try that. So this week, think about, here's what you really need to think about. When you hear that chatter in your head, figure out, is it just the voice of safety or is it actual truth? And a piece of it is you need to get better at hearing that voice in your head, because when you don't actually hear it, it's always talking. But when you don't hear it, you just do what it says. And so you need to get better at hearing it, so you don't just let your subconscious run you. And a good way to get around some of this stuff is a 4-week workshop that I know of that starts in Tampa on Saturday, January 18th. I do my 4-week Wing It and Win workshop, where I teach people to be bold in any situation, be able to talk to anybody at any time, be a little more creative, and again, bold is big. To learn to hear that voice and go, thanks for trying to keep me safe. I get safe. now I'm going to go be successful. So Wing It and Win workshop, you can find it at tobymartini.com/workshop, or just go to tobymartini.com and click on workshop. So that's my whole commercial. If you're in the Tampa Bay area and you've got 4 Saturdays in a row and you want to be able to get through all that noise in your head and start to just get through it, that would be fantastic. I will check out now. I hope it's been lovely for you. It's been lovely for me. Straight Up with Toby Martini, and I'll be back in a week or so. Bye-bye. This has been Straight Up with Toby Martini. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you want to find out more about what I'm up to, you can always find me at tobymartini.com. We'll see you next week. Bye.